y'all noticed, but it's still pretty hot out here. How y'all doing? Today we're going to be doing kind of a little garden tour. Here on this row I've got some over here to the right I've got tomatoes. I've got 3 rows. I've spaced them pretty close to 2 feet apart. Some of them are just a little bit closer, but most of them are 2 feet apart on 3-foot rows. Here out in front of my garden I have a house that we actually purchased this property next door to our place first of the year, and I'm in the process right now of tearing this house down. Out in front of our greenhouse fence here we've got quite a few wildflowers planted. We planted these back in August of last year. We built this last year. We're inspired by some gates we saw for sale actually in a nursery. In the clay pot there I've got some oatmeal that I had planted. You know, there's lots of people on YouTube and the internet that I've followed for, gosh, I guess years now, and really inspired me to do things in my garden, do things here on my homestead, and I've never really posted a YouTube video until I guess 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. But you know, 6 months ago my father passed away suddenly, wasn't expected, and it really got me to thinking that you know, I can share what I do as well, just like those people shared, you know, their dreams, their realities with me these years, and you know, if I just help, I guess, one person to get inspired to grow a garden, grow things for themselves, do things for themselves, I think at the end, you know, that could be rewarding for me and them. Here on the side of my greenhouse I've got some rain barrels that I had made last year, and just it's kind of a homemade gutter system. I didn't spend a lot of money on that, but here's our girls. Just to kind of illustrate how big these leaves are, my hand is a pretty good sized hand. And there's one of the yellow squashes that is going to be picked tonight and eaten. This variety here is Cherokee Purple. We have recently added these stakes and jute twine to these peppers to kind of support them a little bit, and we've kind of done this similar to the way we did our tomatoes with that Florida weave system. And this little update here is kind of a non-gardening update, but this is a deck that I'm building on the front of my shop here that I used all reclaimed wood. I finished digging my potatoes, and I'm actually in our greenhouse now. I'm going to weigh up the potatoes to see what I got this year. Well, we grew about 28 pounds of potatoes. Hello everybody. I thought I would do a quick garden update, kind of show you around and see what's happened the last week in the garden. Here in this pot I've got some evergreen bunching onions. I've had several comments on here about my greenhouse, and I built this back in 2005. Above the door the stained glass was hand painted by me and Gina. We just used a stained glass kit that you buy at any kind of hobby shop or hobby store. Our bell peppers and poblano peppers, jalapenos, they're all doing really good. The plants are really getting a lot of growth on them. I've given a couple updates here on my channel about a deck that I built out in front of the shop that was on this property when we bought it back 6 months ago, and mentioned in the last video about the deck that we were going to build a porch over the front of it, and I've got the porch completed now. Here's one of our little farm cats we've got here on our urban farm. Found this as a kitten, and the kids named her Zoe. Turned out she was a Joey. She is actually a boy. I don't think I've showed a video of any of my ducks yet. We do have 3 ducks. You probably can hear the one sounds like a man laughing in a lot of my videos. We've actually named that duck Ronnie, after one of Gina's uncles who has almost that same identical laugh. Here's everything we picked this morning out of the garden. After I filled the jar with water, I put it here in my greenhouse in a sunny spot. One of my goals, one of these days, I've been planning this for a while now, but haven't got anything done on it. But I really would like to go more to a portable coop. If we count the little bantam egg that we watched actually get laid tonight, we only got 4 eggs. I guess my only regret right now is I really don't have anything to plant. Wanted to show off the playhouse I built the girls a couple of years ago. Cucumbers this year have been the worst cucumbers I've ever tried to grow. I just take a piece of newspaper that is 3.5 by 10 inches long. You roll them, and you've got a pot. This spot out here in the front of us here is where I'm going to plant my fall garden. The cotton that I planted is still doing good. My cantaloupes are doing pretty good. Here's another cotton bow that is opened up here. I'm going to spend the rest of the afternoon, I hope, dancing in the rain. This is a open pollinated yellow squash. It's a heirloom squash. Well, despite the heat, I still have stuff growing in my garden. It's kind of hard to believe, but we've had 22 days now that it's been in excess of 100 degrees. Most of those days 105, 106 degrees. The roof on our greenhouse here has literally melted. I have lost a couple of squash plants. I've been keeping them watered, doing everything I can try to do. Our egg production is way down with the heat. From 10 chickens, we're getting an average 2 or 3 eggs a day. And let me show you something we're having to deal with. I've never really dealt with this before, but some of you may have. But we got 1 egg today. Let me show you what I'm dealing with. That egg there is already hard-boiled. They're laying hard-boiled eggs. Well, that's not too bad of a harvest. We're going to snap these up and have them for supper. We're going to put a little bit of potatoes in there, maybe some ham, and make a good old pot of cornbread, and that'll make a really nice supper. What I did with these is when the foliage started kind of turning brown and all in July, I just cut everything back to the ground and left some of the suckers. Hello everybody. I thought I'd do a quick update for you on a chicken tractor that I've built for my bantams. What makes that tractor neat to me is it didn't cost me anything. And I've been getting projects done with all the scrap wood. I'm saving everything I can save. These are Roma tomatoes right here. Today we're going to make some homemade liquid laundry detergent. I did the math on this and calculated it all out, and this cost us about $1.50 a load. I've got to first off always give credit to God for everything. God has blessed me and my family this year, even through some tough times, losing my father this year. And it's a couple of days before Thanksgiving, and we've still got tomatoes. We've been picking off these the last week. Well, that wasn't too bad of a haul. We picked most of them. There was a lot of small ones still on there that we didn't pick. Out of the basket of peppers we picked yesterday, we got 11 jars of just whole jalapenos. Got some garlic and salt in there, and a vinegar brine. And then we also canned some kind of a little mixed up relish there. I don't know what happened to this side. I had beef jerky in there, but some little gremlin must have come and reached her hand in there to get some of that. But the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a spatula and make sure there's no air bubbles. Some garlic that I planted back in November that's coming up. And most of them I guess are about 6 inches. Some of them 8 inches tall now. I've still got several rows of lettuce that is doing really well. The soil temperature has been staying pretty consistently at about 82 degrees. Apart from being just a little bit leggy, the ceilings are pretty healthy. I deal with just a little bit of not having enough light on the ends, and it's gone. We're done. It was definitely a project that I'm going to think twice about doing again by hand. And then my tomatoes that I started some of these back in January and some back in February. Thought I would just spend a minute this morning to kind of share an idea with you. There's one of my squash plants that I've got a pretty bloom on it this morning. The purpose of this is to get the mix. But it's a result of your seed trying to germinate and push itself up through hard crusted soil. And I suspect a lot of them germinated, but they just couldn't make it through that crust. Here at the back of my tomato row, behind my Romas, I've got a yellow pear tomato. It's kind of cool this morning. We had some rain yesterday. I don't always do a lot of updates up around our house, but we do incorporate a lot of edible plants into our landscape. I planted 4 peach trees last year here on the new property. I also use the same method for my pepper plants. Here in a couple of weeks, as they start getting some height on them, I'll start tying them up the same way. This variety here is a Rutger tomato. My pumpkins this year have really went nuts. It's unusual for me to have pumpkins this early in the year. One of my dill plants here is starting to flower out. I've struggled in the past trying to get the dill to be perfect and right when the cucumbers are ready, but let some of these green onions here from last year go to seed and seed out. I'm going to collect these today. It looks like I might have waited just a little too long, but there's still plenty of seeds there for the taking. Try to give you an idea how tall this stuff is. I'm 6'1", and it's gotten pretty tall this year. Our Roma 2 green beans are starting to bloom out, and I have a few beans on them. There's one of the Hill Country red okras that's starting to bloom out and produce some okra. Here's some cantaloupes here. I've really been trying to water, keep things hydrated best I can. All right, it's been about an hour. Let's check and see what progress we've made. It almost looks like a war zone out here this morning. Corn's all loaded down real good. It's probably going to be my best year for corn in a while. Let's go pick some tomatoes and see what all we can come up with. Well guys, I think it's about time for me to get busy. Get all this stuff put up and processed. We picked enough for tonight for supper, and tomorrow we will come out here and pick the rest of these and do some canning. And obviously with the peas, we can't forget the cornbread. And we went ahead and picked the rest of our corn. Got a pretty good harvest off of it. Some of them are pretty small ears that we're going to probably feed to our chickens, but some more cucumbers, banana peppers, zucchini and squash, and then another little basket of peppers. We picked our tomatoes last night. I wanted to document these before Gina canned them today. Cooking breakfast this morning, so if you hear the sizzle behind me, that's what that is. With all the tomatoes we've picked so far this year, this is what we've gotten canned. Over here I've got 14 pints of sliced peaches. And then we did 7 pints of, or half pints, I'm sorry, of peach butter. Really good. Well guys, tomatoes this year, I don't know. I have struggled and struggled and struggled with tomatoes this year. I've been embarrassed to even show my vines, but they're still producing. I mean, you can see a lot of fruit on there. We've picked a ton of tomatoes this year, but we have got ourselves some kind of blight issue, I think, and all the sunflowers are in full bloom and just shining their glory this morning, waiting for that sun to give them a little bit of a kiss. Got me some twins there, got me some cantaloupes that have grown together. My little black-eyed pea patch that I planted back in April, we've picked quite a few off of here, and what's left on here I'm going to let go to seed, and we're going to collect these and save them for seed next year. Came out to the garden this evening and we picked some tomatoes. We're going to go in here in just a minute and can these, probably just going to do these some whole tomatoes in some pine or quart jars. If you heard kind of that hissing sound behind me as I was weighing those, we've got our canner going. We canned a 5-gallon bucket of tomatoes today. I went and snapped off some of the tops of my dill plants that are dried, and I'll be saving these for seed next year. Here's the bucket of purple whole peas I just got through picking. It's just kind of a short video, guys. I just wanted to kind of get that out there, get that off my chest. I wanted to let everybody know that man, you can grow food anywhere. Here's another one of the squash plants that I had cut back, and it's actually, I don't know if you can see that or not, it's got 1, 2, 3 pretty good squash down in there. Here's the sweet potato patch in its entirety. Sweet potatoes are all doing good, putting off their blooms. Quite a few blooms on here today. Well, here's what I picked today, mainly okra. Mainly okra is what I picked today. You'll notice in there some of these are going to be too big to eat. They're going to be too woody, too hard. But I'll pick through here and I'll find us some that we can eat. And this is what I've dug up so far. I'll go back through and fork that entire area again, because I'm sure invariably I've missed some. Anyways guys, as always, appreciate you watching the videos. We'll see y'all later.